Hello everyone. Today we are going to show you a secret place in the desert. A place that rivals things like the Nazca Lines in Peru. A secret hidden garden where a gal named Hazel put together scripture, sermons, peaceful sayings, and Bible verses in the desert with stones. The thing is, it's huge. It's supposed to be 300 feet by 180 feet, and you really can only tell what's going on by the air. Let's see if we can find where this is. This secret place called Hazel's Garden, Sermon in the Stones. It's also known as the Volcanic Rock Garden. It's difficult to find. I hope we can find it. Let's see what we can do. Okay, let me give you some background on where we're going. We're headed to an area called Wonder Valley. It's about 150 miles east of Los Angeles. It's an extremely secluded area. There's still a few recreational cabins left over from the 50s and a small population of people that live there. It's very close to Joshua Tree National Park, which is this large area here. Wonder Valley is known for its big open spaces and its seclusion, but today we're going to visit a very special site. Well, folks, we've arrived at what we believe is the right place. It's not advertised, and it's wonderful it's not, but here's what it looks like. We are seeing some stacks here and some long lines. And you certainly do not want to disturb anything, but you can see some lines, some patterns that are out here. Hazel lived out here in what is typically what they call a recreational cabin. It's a small place, no electricity, no water. This is it for sure, because I can see something right here. This place is enormous. And left to the elements, this is going to dissipate over time. Here is some colored rocks. Look at this. Where we're going to be able to really tell the difference and see what this really is from the air. So I'm going to start the drone in just a few minutes, and we're going to fly over this and see what it looks like from the air. This is truly huge. I mean, I can see possibly a D or an O. This might be an E. R. Yes, okay, these are letters. I don't know where the word starts. Yeah, look at these lines. This is amazing. Okay, let's get the drone up. That's an R. E.
God bless America.
Is that what it says?
Yeah.
You can see that?
Yeah.
She says it says, God bless America, right there. Well, the M-E-R, yeah, that makes sense. You would not know what this is. You would drive by, you might see some painted, piled up rocks, but you would not know what this is from the ground. Can't wait to see it from the air. As the drone lifted off, we immediately became aware that this was a very special place, this hidden gem in the desert. It immediately reminded me of pictures I've seen of the Nazca Lines in Peru, where you have no idea what you're looking at until you see it from the air. You may ask, how did this get here? And who did this? Well, the artist that put this together was Hazel Stiles. She was a bit of a recluse and lived with not a lot of contact with her neighbors because her neighbors knew nothing about this being built until it was discovered one day, somewhere around 2018. Hazel was born in Brownsville, Texas, and then she moved to Los Angeles, where she worked as a streetcar conductor, and then later on during the Second World War as a riveter in an aircraft factory. It's still a mystery how she engineered and mapped out her design in the desert. This would have been built in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. It is highly likely she never, even by her death in 2012, ever saw her sculpture from the air. This was all done from the ground. She had 3 sons, Jack, Edward, and Robert. Jack's the only one that remains today. But she moved out to Wonder Valley in a small recreational cabin. It had no water and no electricity, and you can imagine how hot it gets in the desert. One of the neighbors says she was a real local. She dressed like a desert rat. She wore a bandana and a big hat and was constantly hunched over, moving something on the ground, which were the rocks. She worked tirelessly, alone, in the desert, placing each rock right where it needed to go to send her message. The neighbors thought she was gardening, but they had no idea what she was building. And then one day, a neighbor named Ken Sitz was looking on Google Earth at his property adjacent to Hazel's and noticed what looked like words that were formed in the sand. So he called his friend Joe Barrett to come over with his drone. And that day they found Hazel's volcanic garden, which is also known as Sermon in the Stones. Without this random chance discovery, this beautiful tapestry made of stones in the desert could have been lost forever. Now, the forces of nature in the desert are reclaiming Hazel's garden. Ken Sitz has put together a loose preservation group to try and help preserve the Sermon in the Stones. Even now, comparing photographs from 2018, I can see that the desert is taking over Hazel's garden. At the bottom part of the garden, the words are completely unreadable, and we will never know the message that Hazel was trying to tell us in that part of her garden. Here is a blown up section of her garden where we were able to decipher some of the words and phrases and type over them so that we could read them. It gives some very interesting and positive messages. There are some quotes from the Bible, and there are quotes from one of Shakespeare's plays called As You Like It. There are also many messages from Hazel, such as turn off the TV and pray. Hazel's garden is surrounded in mystery. A lone woman who moved to the desert and constructed this over decades. How she was able to accomplish building a structure of this size and detail, of which the full scope could only be seen from the air. It does beg the question whether there was divine presence that guided her to accomplish this. Well, we hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit the subscribe button and follow us. And we'll see you next time on the road with Keith and We Adventures.